And we are back.
Welcome to the 2026 version of the Not So Perfect podcast. I am Matt Chinn, as always, with my cohort,
Gerardo Cornejo, and Happy New Year.
Happy holidays, everybody. Hope everything went good, stress-free, and you're starting the year off on the right foot.
Matt gave me a little break, so we've had a little time off to really have some time off.
Yeah, we were actually... just talking about how yesterday I was training some people and I got like back-to-back text messages like unexpectedly, and both of them were more podcasts, and then the other one was, when can we expect the next? And I said, well, hang tight, we're doing one tomorrow. I said, about time. So we had a 2-week hiatus or so, but we're back on the right track.
Thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. This is really just us not being perfect.
Yeah, and it's nice to know that we've got other people out there that also notice when we don't drop a new podcast.
Yeah. Quick shout out to rest in peace Patty Verslois, one of our favorite grandmas. She's resting in peace now, and
she's looking over us.
Looking over us. She got to love all of the kiddos in the neighborhood and experience all that, but she's resting. So, Grandma Patty, rest in peace. But what's the new year looking like for Matt?
I don't know. For me, it's pretty much a lot of the same, but
well, that's boring.
There's somebody I know that's getting out of their comfort zone this weekend.
I think 2026 is a year of getting out of your comfort zone.
I think we should deflect to me. I think we need to deflect to you, sir, since you're taking the leap of faith.
My wife, Stacy Cornejo, she trains at a High Rocks gym up the street. Shout out to High Rocks Soul Runners. And there is a competition that they do. This week's in Colombia. And about 5 days ago, Stacy asked me if I wanted to join her as what do they call it? Partners? Oh, there's a duels. What did we call it?
I don't know.
Anyways, High Rocks, we're doing it together.
Team style competition. Competition.
Partners. I don't know what it's called, but it's me and Stacy gonna take on the High Rocks World. I've had about
this Saturday, Columbia, Missouri. Set your calendars and your reminders.
8 a.m. Mizzou football practice field, training facility, practice field. Should be a cool event. There's a lot of people coming out, but I have committed to do this with my wife.
And that's the indoor facility?
Indoor facility, okay. Yeah, across the stadium, I think.
Yeah.
That's the only one I know of.
Yep.
Unless there's the new one in the back. Is that open yet?
It's kind of, I think if I remember right, it's right next to like the baseball facility.
Yeah, across the street. So I will be doing a High Rocks competition as duels.
Couples.
Partners. Doubles, I think it is. Doubles or teams. So we are going to kick butt. My mind is almost mentally prepared to knock this out. I was showing Matt the exercises we have to do, and I don't know how I'm going to run 8Ks between all those workouts, but
one step in front of
the other. I'm going to follow the leader.
One step in front of the other.
I'm going to follow the leader, which is Stacy. So that's a huge commitment. Oh, but a commitment I made too before this was we got our blood checked last year in December. We got our results back. Kind of diagnosed all that, and I wanted to lose 5 pounds before this competition. And as of today, I have lost 5 pounds.
Congratulations.
In the last 3 weeks. So with that being said, want to lead into today's episode, which we want to talk about health and fitness myths, because everybody's in the first of the year in resolution mode, and Matt, as you can tell, takes health and fitness seriously.
Every day.
Every day, consistent.
Every day, consistency.
You've seen him on the magazine covers.
Common theme throughout this episode: consistency.
You've seen him on the magazine covers, and he's a man that lives and breathes it, so it's not fake. And I think that'd be a good one to get, because we did have a conversation earlier this week, because I was like, hey, I'm running this week, I need a carb load. And he was like, no, you don't. So that is a myth. Let's start with that one. You need a carb load before you go on a huge marathon run, or before a huge cardio burning session.
Yeah, so like say you're getting ready to run a marathon, do a High Rocks event, do something that's kind of longer term endurance, or something that's going to test you more of a long term in terms of like not just an hour workout or an hour on the treadmill or something like that, but just really exerting more energy than you're used to expending on a regular basis. So And this goes back to whenever I was, in high school. We had played football growing up, but we'd always be told to carb load, go to Fazoli's, eat all the bottomless spaghetti you can eat, and all the breadsticks, and all that stuff.
Pasta. Carbs,
And
carbs,
at the time, we just did what we were told because internet wasn't around yet, so we didn't really know any better or any worse. We just did what we were told. So in lieu of that, where we're at today in 2026, that myth of carb loading is not something I'll say that you don't need to do at all, but I think it's more of the determination of what kind of carbs should we be eating that are healthy.
Okay.
So in terms of that, carbs are fine as long as they're the right kind of carbs. Pastas, anything with wheat, anything with flour. Usually if it's coming from the United States, it's going to add a ton of inflammation to your body, your joints, everything. So if you're in Italy training for a Hyrox, little different story because their flour is not genetically modified. So that is the reason why in America, pastas, all that stuff, if it is made here in the United States, it usually leads to massive amounts of inflammation, internal swelling, just all that extra stuff, just because it's got genetically modified stuff that our body doesn't know what to do with. So, in lieu of carb loading, vegetables, healthier items like that. Those are the things you're wanting to look at. Simple carbohydrates are the no's, complex carbohydrates are the goods. Reason why, your complex carbohydrates have a lot more nutritional value to them than say a spaghetti noodle or a fettuccine noodle or a cannoli or a cannelloni or a manicotti or whatever the dish might be, okay? So that's the biggest thing. Not saying don't eat carbs, but eat the correct carbs, not the bad kind.
And is that like a date 24 hours before, during that week?
I would usually, so if your body is used to a certain kind of routine, diet, that sort of thing, I would try as I get closer, maybe the week of, I would try and start modifying my daily routine around when are you going to be starting the Hyrox? How long is it going to go for? Mm-hmm. What's the duration? Whenever you know stuff like that, you just have more data to work with. So kind of just tells you, usually what I like to do is like the week before a marathon, just as an example that I go through. Usually that week of the marathon, I'll start trying to incorporate my diet more to what I'm going to be doing that weekend. So I'll have 5 days for my body to kind of make adjustments, kind of get used to the new things you're doing because your routine's changing. Because usually with like the marathons, that means we're going to be on a plane flying, somewhere for a full day. And then so
Maybe
if you're trying to do all
zones.
this stuff, yeah. So if you're doing all this stuff while you're in airports, while you're in a hotel, while you're at an Airbnb, like you're going to make it a lot harder on yourself than you need to because you're trying to do too much with too much other stuff going on. So if you can kind of start that like the week, 5 to 7 days, maybe ahead of time, kind of tightening the diet up, getting your water intake in or making sure you're hitting your goals on all that stuff. Then by the time you get to the Hyrox, your body will be more acclimated to that. Where if like you're never eating carbohydrates and then Friday night you eat 6 bowls of pasta with marinara sauce, you might have some issues the next day. So give yourself enough time to acclimate. If you got a date circled on the calendar for whatever the event might be or whatever the challenge might be that you're doing, give yourself enough time to prep. It's just like getting ready for a big board meeting. You got to prep before you do the board meeting. You can't just walk in and just guns blazing.
Yeah.
So
let me check, make sure. It's been a while, so I want to make sure. Yep.
Still
we
good.
are good.
He cleaned out his trash.
It's been a while. So complex carbs, do the research on that.
Yeah.
To prepare for a big event.
It would take just a quick Google search for that.
Yeah.
Complex carbohydrates. What are the best options for a high intensity event? Multi-hour event coming up on a Saturday. You could probably even chat GPT it and they could give you some suggestions.
Yeah, and he's done wrestling, he's done football. I remember football, they would take us to the Italian restaurant to eat pizza, pasta, breads.
Yeah, well, wrestling, we did not have that. That policy was not incorporated in wrestling, unfortunately. It didn't carry over from fall to winter sports. But and I'll tell you the other end of that. So these myths. Well, what we had growing up when we were in high school, we were cutting weight, doing all this stuff, but we weren't doing it a very healthy way. Meaning, we would basically just starve ourselves because we thought if you didn't eat, you were not going to gain any weight. Plus, we're still working out in the mornings, still working out in the evenings. So we'll just kill that or burn all that weight away that way. But come to find out nowadays, what we now know is that when you starve yourself, your body recognizes that you're starving it, and then you're doing hard activity on top of that. So basically, your body's going into a fight or flight mode, where it's like, well, if he's not going to feed me and we're going to keep doing 2 workouts a day, like, I'm not losing shit. Like, it's going to hang on to everything you have in your body. So to lose 2 pounds, 5 pounds, whatever the weight you need to lose is, it's going to make it exponentially harder, as opposed to eating a couple small things throughout the day, just constantly giving yourself fuel. We were just basically driving the Cadillac without any gas in it for 3 months at a time.
And then to perform at your absolute best when you're just depleted.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, there were a lot of days where after I got off the scale for weigh-ins, and then we wrestle like an hour, 2 hours later, get off the scale, go to my cooler, open up a Gatorade, and just start drinking it. And as soon as I start drinking it, I would just start pouring sweat because my body was hanging on to everything. It's like, cool, you don't want to eat? We're just hanging on to it all. So there are horror stories to the extreme on both sides of it, you know, whether you're eating too much or eating too much of the wrong stuff or not eating at all, you know, which a lot of people I run into, new clients and stuff like that, whenever I tell them how many calories they should be having a day, they look at me like I'm crazy because I think they're going to get fat. And I'm like, all you're doing right now is putting your body in a starvation period where it's not going to progress. It's going to just it thinks you're starving it, so it's just going to hang on to everything it has because it doesn't know when it's going to get more, you know? So the extremes are on both sides, but again, consistency. You know, you don't need to be this far. You don't need to be this far. Be right in the middle there where you got a good balance on all that stuff.
So another myth we want to discuss, you need extreme workouts to get results. Do I have to do CrossFit to be buff? Do I have to do high rocks to have a 6-pack? How intensive my workouts need to be to get results?
Well, the intensity is something I will push off for a later moment in this podcast. But what I will say initially that's more important than the intensity and the extreme and the duration and the da-da-da-da-da is consistency. If you're working out every day, whether it be 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, as long as you're doing something every day, that's going to get you to your goal a lot faster and a lot closer than if you're doing 3-4 hour workouts at the Y and doing all this stuff. Now, I'm not saying that won't work, but if you're just getting into a workout routine or it's 2026 and you're going to lose 100 pounds, 50 pounds, 20 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever it might be, just start by showing up every day and not for anybody else beside yourself, you know? Now, if you need external motivations along with that, if you've got 2 kids at home that are in bed and you're thinking about the future and you're 100 pounds overweight and you're worried about not getting to see them graduate high school or get married or have kids or get to be a grandparent with those kids, just be consistent every day. Show up for yourself first and foremost, but also, you know, if those kids help motivate you, or if those grandkids help motivate you, or your husband's working out in the morning, be consistent, you know. And again, if it's a struggle just to get that part of the ball rolling, find an accountability buddy. You know, if you and your husband can both agree to wake up in the morning and go do your workouts together, well, guess what? It's going to be harder for 2 people to hit snooze all morning than it is for 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So know what your tendencies are. If you have the tendency of every time you get into this and then you get nervous and then you start thinking and then you start overthinking and then you just don't even go, know that, play into that, you know? And I have people that whenever I have new clients, sometimes they're like, how do you want me to pay you? I say, well, I'm pretty flexible on how you do it. You can do it per session, you can do it per week, we can do it per month, like whatever works. Like, well, if I don't pay you now all up front for the month, like I need the accountability. Good. Lean into that. There's nothing wrong with that. When you can recognize what your deficiencies are and find someone that can kind of fill those deficiencies, instead of being here all the time, it's more of a level playing field, you know? So you're not having the ups and the downs, then you're a terrible person because you slept in this morning. Like, it happens, you know, and we all struggle. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I sleep in sometimes. I miss the alarm clock. Like, it does happen.
Or you can also hire a coach for accountability.
Yeah. Again,
That one will, when you're invested.
yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's
if
a
there's a
powerful
monetary
one.
transaction and they know that they paid me, you know, $300 for the month, and you know they're on a tight budget, so that $300, that's a lot to them, you know, and they have to be here and show up to get every dollar's worth, you know.
And the best workout isn't the hardest one; it's the one you'll still be doing in March.
Yeah, yeah, because if you're
Back to
doing those
consistency.
3-4 hour workouts every week, and by January or by February you're so burnt out and just exhausted and just hate the gym because you've been there.
Been there, done that. Cold turkey, all in, stuff that I wasn't used to. Come second week of the workout, I was like, I'm done. I'm not meant to run 4 miles a day. I'm not meant to wake up at 5 a.m. and throw weights around. But my consistency with the last 3 weeks have been what I put inside my body.
And that's the biggest thing for most people is just the diet, you know. Either they're way off on the deep end where they're eating way too much of the worst stuff you could possibly eat, or not eating enough, so your body's kind of in a starvation mode all the time. You know, there's got to be a balance. You know, you can't be too extreme on either side. Again, consistency is key.
That leads us right into the next myth. You have to eat perfectly. All or nothing thinking is the fastest failure path, which is, I've failed every time. I went all or nothing. And progress does beat perfection. If your plan doesn't include real life, it's not a plan, it's a setup. You have to eat perfect. Do you eat perfectly?
Nope.
To have abs like to be on the cover of a magazine?
Nope. But I show up every day. I work out every day, run every day, and my diet's pretty much the same every day. I don't fluctuate it much. There might be a night where I do want to order a pizza or go out to dinner or something like that, but that's maybe once a month, you know, once every 2 weeks. So if you're consistent 95% of the time, you can afford that 5% off, you know? Now, does that mean I'm eating 3 pizzas, 2 Italian sandwiches, and 6 orders of wings on that one day? No, it's not.
You're making me hungry now.
Right? So the thing is, again, just the consistency. If you're good 95% of the time or 90% of the time, look at that other 10% as a reward. Now, it doesn't mean go completely off the rails and, you know, get the bottomless all-you-can-eat buffet. But whatever it is you like, if you like going to get a nice Italian dish, if you like getting a nice Italian pie, whatever it is you like, just reward yourself every once in a while.
And I like how you mentioned earlier, do it for yourself. Because I've always looked for that the secret sauce, the show me the fancy, crazy thing these super fit people are doing. It's boring.
Yeah, it's nothing sexy.
It's boring.
It's nothing sexy. It's a lot of the same stuff. It's very repetitive. You know, but the benefit is what comes after the workout. You know, it's not what happens during, it's not what happens before that. It's how you feel after you're done.
It's how you feel.
And if you get done in the morning and you get a nice hard 30-minute workout in before work, there's a good chance the rest of your day you're not going to have anything as challenging as what you did first thing. You know, so that just sets you up for success because, you know, when you get to work at 8 and by 8:30 you had 3 people call in sick, like, well, we'll figure it out. It definitely wasn't as hard as those burpees were this morning, but all right, we're going to have to shift some things around here and it's going to be okay, you know?
And I think it's hard now because we're taught to enjoy more the image than the actual feeling. Nowadays, you know, like I don't have a 6-pack yet. I've lost 5 pounds. What the heck? I'm done.
Yeah.
But well, I'm sleeping stepping
It's the instant gratification because of clicks and likes and social media and all the stuff that people are infatuated with now. Because all you got to do is open up your phone and you've got access to anybody around the world that's flaunting private jets and Lambos and how special they are.
Just fit bodies. They've been getting paid to be fit for decades, and the results are still there.
Yeah, but that starts with just showing up. You know, if you don't show up for day 1, how are you going to show up for day 90? How are you going to show up for year 3? How are you going to show up for year 5? You're not. You know, so again, if it's a super busy day and you got 20 minutes only to get your workout in, I can get you a workout with 5 minutes and you'll absolutely hate me. So the time is not the excuse. It's what you're looking at in the mirror, whatever you're telling yourself inside your head, that's the excuse. You know, that's what you want to avoid because as soon as you start making excuses like that, day 1, guess what you're going to do day 2? Guess what you're going to do day 3? So, you know, I tell people all the time, look, if you're going to start a workout program, pick a day. You know, I don't care if it's January 1st or if it's December 31st, whatever day it is, circle that on the calendar, mentally prep yourself so that way when it comes to that day, you're not totally freaking out, you're not totally unprepared, you're not, I don't know what I'm going to wear, I'll just start tomorrow. And that's how it begins. You know, but that's how a lot of people.
I'll just start tomorrow.
That's how a lot of people live every single day of their life. You know, I'll do it tomorrow. We'll get to it next week. We'll do it next month.
Kids are real busy. It's nicer to be in his warm bed.
Kids are real busy this week, so we need to really, you know, prioritize our sleep. Not saying you shouldn't, but maybe go to sleep earlier. Don't stay up till midnight. Go to bed at 10. Go to bed at 9. Whatever. So there's always ways to do it. But there was one thing you read that I had to come back here.
Is it the
Progress equals perfection. Does not equal perfection. Good. So, in lieu of the name of the podcast, progress, not perfection. Okay? I don't know anybody who's perfect at anything. Okay? Do you?
Nope.
I don't think anybody else does either, okay, that's still breathing, living today. So, with that being said, progress. It's not about being perfect, because none of us are, none of us ever will be, but being consistent and progressive every single day. Every single day is the key. So, just wanted to go back and touch base on that.
And what's helped me too throughout the more recently than ever, because I treated it the way I treated my business, like do the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Write it out what you eat, what you're currently eating. Do the numbers that come attached with that, the calories and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've heard of the calorie counting, calorie deficit and all that. You will be amazed. Like, to have and everybody's different.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful part is my diet will not work on Matt's body. Matt's diet will not work. We won't get the same results, right?
Well, it's just everybody's body's different. So maybe what I need, you don't need. Mm-hmm. Maybe some of the things that you need, I don't need.
Yeah.
So again, do the blood work. Do your blood panels. Get all the stuff. Because again, we're all different. There's no two people that are the exact same. So
your body will tell you exactly what's up.
Yeah. And
what's going on, what it's dealing with. Your blood will not lie to you.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, like even whenever I had my blood work done last March, full comprehensive 3-page panel, I was nervous going in, because I'd put it off for 5 years because I wanted to get my mind and my body right from just all the years of drinking I was doing. So I was hesitant about it because I was getting a little nervous because I was afraid, I did some permanent damage maybe to my liver, my kidneys that, potentially could be a death sentence or something that could lead to more. But just that sense of, everything checked the box. The only thing you had was your vitamin D was a tad low, but we're coming out of winter, so most people's are at this point, So it was just that peace of mind knowing after the fact, which at first I was scared, but once you get it, once you go over it, like, look, if there's work to be done, like, we got to know what the work is. I got to know if I need to dig a hole over here, if we need to pour concrete over here, like, are we building a house? Like, where do we start? So you do that with just gather as much information and data as you can on where your body currently is, and a lot of people don't realize how many things they're deficient in that they really are, So if you haven't done like a full comprehensive blood panel, I strongly recommend doing that just because you don't know unless you know.
At any age. Whatever age. We just did it with the team, we went from 22 years old to 42 years old and everything in between. And everybody's numbers are just like, that's what made me realize, like, dude, everybody's body is just, it's their own.
Yeah.
So you take care of your own body. Like, their diet is not for your body.
Yeah.
That look is not for your body. Just your blood will tell you what you need.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I tell a lot of my clients too. If they're working out with a couple other clients that they haven't worked out with before, and it's like, hey, like these people have been here with me for 3 years. Like they know the routine. They're very efficient. We're just, bringing somebody new in to kind of learn to jump into this system. But they think they have to keep up with the people that have been doing this for 3 years straight, as opposed to the person that's like a month and a half in with me, So I always tell them, like, look, you go at your pace. Like, your pace is all that matters. You don't worry about what they're doing, how far they are, how much further ahead they are, how far behind you are. It does not matter. Like, you'll get there, but it's not going to be on day one, So go through the routine. You're going to have some questions. Ask them, If you don't, you're just going to be so questioning after the workout.
There's truth in stay in your lane.
Yeah.
This weekend, High Rocks, I'm going to be trying to like compete. No, stay in our lane. Me and Stacy have a strategy. Reps, you do 5, I do 5. I do 300 meters, 200 meters.
That dude next to you that's got his shirt off and he's got a 19-pack and he's got quads for days.
I'm buying Stacy.
Back of your mind, you're going to be thinking, aren't you? Like, I got this.
No, that is not in my lane. I am going to be as stubborn as I already am.
There you go.
And we have a plan, stick to it. We have a certain time we're going to try to beat. Because an hour or less is like the top performers, pro High Rocks performers in the world, an hour or less. So that's what they're trying to be now, seconds. And I think we're going to give ourselves like an hour and a half to complete it. So it's an hour and a half workout mentally, and 6-pack dude, 19-pack dude sprinting laps around me. The girls are going to be pulling that sled faster than me.
Dude, those girls are beasts.
Yes,
like, there are some
very impressive to those
very impressive
female athletes with Stacy's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to do as many reps as she does and be able to split it.
Yeah.
So more sweat means more fat loss. Another myth. More sweat means more fat loss. The truth is sweat is not fat loss. Fat loss is hormonal caloric balance. Recovery and sleep matter as much as training. And quote unquote, you don't get fit by destroying your body. You get fit by respecting it. How much alcohol do you drink now?
None.
Respecting your body. Again. And you did have a six-pack, I'm sure, when you were drinking beer, but you didn't feel...
Well, I may have looked good, but inside I felt miserable. I hated my life. I hated who I was. I hated the reflection in the mirror, and that's the truth, so...
But everybody saw you in shape, like, Matt's got it figured out, like he's in shape.
No, not at all. But, there was a lot of work to be done there, but...
Sweat does not mean fat loss.
So sweat, whenever you're talking about exercise, sitting in a sauna, whatever it might be, sweat is going to be water loss. Okay, so that's the hydration you have in your body coming out of your body. So that is not burning calories. That just means you're going to need to replace your body with water that you sweat out from the workout. Now, through the activity that you're doing, not the sweat, but through the activity that you're doing is where you're going to find the caloric burn. Okay, so you burn enough calories that it incorporates to weight. Weight incorporates to pounds, that incorporates to the scale. So, something to think about when you're doing that. Now, there is going to be the myth of cardiovascular training versus resistance training. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting that I read at the end of last year was resistance training for people that are just getting started is more important than the cardiovascular aspect of it. And here's why. So, for people that haven't been working out or don't consistently work out, or maybe it's been since they graduated high school, since they've consistently worked out, what you're going to be looking at is as you're going through a program, most people that have not been resistance training up until a certain point, say you're going to start January 1st, they want you to start with resistance training because they want you to build your foundation. Okay, so your foundation starts from the ground up. So most people, if they walk every day, if they're walking to and from their job, and that's the most activity they get throughout the day, we want to strengthen your lower half and your trunk first because A, that's what gets you from A to B, and C, that's also going to be what gets you to a strong base. So if you're talking about running, using the elliptical, rowing machine, bike, whatever it is you like to do cardio on, it's more important to develop your base with strength because that's going to help make your muscles strong, increase bone density, balance, coordination, all that stuff. So those are things that are very important to have before going from couch to 5K, So these are
99% of people will go straight to cardio.
1,000%.
First.
1,000%.
Treadmill first, elliptical first, running first.
Yep.
Walking you should do regardless.
Yep. Well, hopefully you do
but
that. Hopefully you do that throughout
do the strength training and preparing your body. I mean, let's remind these muscles that we're about to be
Well, and guess
woken
what?
up.
If you haven't done any strength training and you're going to go straight to cardio, you're going to be sore, you're going to be tight, you're going to be all these things where a lot of people when they first start, I tell them up front, like we're going to spend about 30 minutes stretching. And they're like, 30 minutes?
I came here to lose weight. Let's run.
When people get done stretching for 30 minutes with me, they feel like they've ran about 600 miles. Because guess what? When you get on that treadmill and you don't stretch or you haven't done any toe touches and since your senior year of high school or whatever it is, there's going to be consequences if you don't take the appropriate actions in the appropriate order. So, always tell people, get your diet in balance or get your diet in check. Then we're going to focus on some stretching and some calisthenics. Then we're going to incorporate some strength training, usually just form and body weight stuff first till they can demonstrate they can add weight or increase weight or resistance. And then once they get that in, then I'll start mixing in the cardio aspect with the resistance training. But not until we develop the foundation of squats, deadlifts, all the stuff that's going to help make your legs strong.
Get stronger than attack.
Yes. So the stronger your lower half is going to be a very key indicator of your longevity. Longevity. So what does that mean? Prime example. One key sign of longevity
There
is
we go. You moved the chair.
being able to sit in a squatted position like this. You would be surprised how many people cannot do this for a minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, or 1 second.
And babies and kids do that naturally.
So I always tell people, new clients, whenever we're demonstrating squats and deadlifts, Ask them, have you ever watched a child pick something up? A little baby that's just learned how to walk. They do it perfectly because their form goes from here and watch. It does not matter, and they haven't been taught this. This is naturally, they squat and they pick stuff up. Where nowadays we do this, lifting with your back. So if the kids are doing it better than we are, there's something to it. So there's something natural that comes from doing that stuff in the proper ways, you know? So very important, but it's also important to make sure you have a routine of how you're going to go about doing this stuff in the right order, spending the appropriate time on it.
And stretching is a workout in itself. Yeah, it's huge.
If you don't believe me, try a yoga class for an hour.
Yeah, and I was going to say that some of the best workouts, the best I've ever felt was during yoga. Not an ounce of sweat. Not like a pouring sweat. It wasn't hot yoga, but it was, man, the breathing. Yoga is breathing, breath work, and then breathing oxygen to those areas. I never thought of that because usually the stretch is like, oh, damn, that hurts. But yoga, if you haven't tried it, that is a easy one to ease into. It's cardio and strength all together. I think.
Well, and people ask me, like, how often are you on these foam rollers, or how often are you stretching? How many clients do I have a day? That's how many times I'm on the foam roller stretching. Like, I do it in between every client, you know? And another thing, too, just talking about the yoga. So I did a hot yoga class last Monday with a girlfriend of mine that was in town visiting over the holiday. And she's like, hey, I leave Tuesday. You got a hot yoga place here in town? I was like, oh, yeah, we got one. And I had been consistently going for about a year straight. And then the last, 6 months has just fallen off just because my work schedule's gotten in the way of when they offer classes. So that's on me, not making excuses. But so I went to this yoga class, first time in 6 months with her last Monday. And it was hard. It was challenging. It was 105 degrees for an hour. Very hard. But the next morning when I woke up, I have a stretch routine I have to do before I can even get out of bed. I didn't have to do that the next morning. And all of that is because I did a hot yoga class. So moving forward, Thursday at 8:30 a.m. will be my 1 day a week hot yoga excursion.
Worth it.
So Darcy, I'll see you Thursday. I've already booked.
Worth it. Shout out to 1111, right?
1111 Yoga.
1111 Yoga.
Darcy Smith, the best.
Let's finish it up with this. Myth number 4 or 5, whatever we're on. Motivation comes first. The truth, action creates motivation. Show up first, feelings will follow. Systems are greater than willpower. Motivation is a terrible leader, but a great follower. Motivation comes first.
So I'll revert back to somebody far more successful and far more intelligent than me. Coach Nick Saban. He says, because everybody asks him, how do you keep the kids motivated? You know, let's say you guys are, it's one of your
Alabama.
Let's say it's one of your undefeated seasons. You know, how do you keep those guys motivated week in and week out? And he says, I don't. And they're like, oh, what do you mean you don't motivate? How can the world? And he's like, look, motivation is a short-term fix. That's something you do before a big game. That's something you do at halftime when you're playing like shit. He says, I don't look for players that need to be motivated. He says, I'm looking for the ones that are self-motivated. Those are the ones that wake up in the morning, regardless of whether they got someone laying next to them, whether they're by themselves, whatever. No excuses. They hit the alarm clock, they get up, and they do their shit, you know? Because so many people, and he always talks about it from a kid's standpoint, his kids that he coached. But he talks about how kids are entitled. And this travels up. It's not just kids. It's adults. It's grandparents, your mom and dad. There's a lot of people that are entitled in this world or feel like they're entitled because of, you name it, whatever reason they've got. So his thing is the motivation will last very short term. We're not looking for a short-term fix. We're looking for lifelong changes. So I like what you said on that one. There's days where I don't want to go to that hot yoga class. There's days where I'll text Darcy at 7 in the morning saying, hey, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm not feeling great, blah, blah, blah. And she says the same thing every time. Get your ass here and it'll be fine. And guess what? Every time I do, I get in the truck, I drive there, and whenever I walk in, all that goes away. So sometimes when you do too much thinking, it's not going to lead you down the path that you need to. So that's where I find myself getting in the way of myself a lot. I overthink things, you know? Hey, shut up, just go, get it done, Think about it later, you know? And usually the big deal is I make it a big deal. It's not a big deal. I make it one. Like the problem that I'm seeing is not real. But in my head, I can turn it into something that is. So for me, I try not to think about it. I try and, if I know I got to work out at this time, I'll get in the truck, get there. And if I need to sit in the truck for a minute to get myself fired up, that's fine. But I'm already in the parking lot. I'm not going to leave and go home, but it might take me a few minutes to get there. But if I'm sitting home at my couch having that thought, I ain't leaving that couch. I'm not. So know what your tendencies are. You know, if you have an issue with that, figure out a way to overcome that, you know? And if that means you might have to try a couple different things. That doesn't mean that it's always going to work on the first try. Or maybe it doesn't work the first try, but by the third try, you're starting to develop a pattern, you know?
Figure out a way to get out of your way.
Yes.
Get out of your way.
It's a saying that we say in Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's stinking thinking. Quit that stinking thinking, because that's what would get me in trouble a lot.
So if you want this year to be different, stop chasing intensity and start chasing consistency.
Yes.
Kept saying that word before we started.
Yep.
Small wins, stack daily, beat January heroics every time. Pick one habit you can sustain, not impress.
Yep.
Quit worrying about impressing people. Quit worrying about posting that you're on the treadmill.
Only person you need to impress is yourself.
Your heart. Be true to yourself. Your blood. Yeah, especially after doing those blood tests. I mean, I knew what my problems were. I just needed my blood to tell me,
yeah,
we need to fix it.
Yeah, and
it's bad. We need to fix it.
Yeah, and the other thing too that I'll end on here is just try and make 2026 a year without excuses. Because guess what? We all have them. And honestly, when I have people that, hey, sorry, I can't make it today. I know I've canceled the last 6 times with you, but you know I've just got this and this and this and this. I don't want to hear that shit. I really don't. And I don't think many other people want to, because if you want to hear excuses, we can all tell you a whole bunch of shit why you should feel bad for me, but that's not what my goal is day in and day out. Mm-hmm. So if you find yourself constantly making excuses, it's time to take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask yourself, why are you making these excuses? Where can you do better? You know, Andy Frisella from Real AF with Andy Frisella, the podcast, he always talks about personal rebellion, or what is it? Personal responsibility is the key to overcoming, what is it he says? Oh my gosh. I'm not going to remember it off the top of my head, but listen to Andy Frisella. He says this almost on every single podcast, but he's always talking about how we get in the way of our own success time and time and time again. So personal rebellion is the key to success, is I believe the phrase he uses. Personal rebellion. So you're rebelling against what everybody else is going this way because this is where the shiny shit is. Well, then there's a whole nother list of people over here that are in the dark, getting the fuck after it, sweating, doing the work, not having to post that shit on Facebook, not having to put it on social medias, not thinking you're a social media influencer. Like, do the work. And until you get to a point where you can do that consistently, then you can start adding some pictures to your social media stuff. But do the work. Like whenever I got sober, I basically went dark for like 5 years because I knew how much work I had to do on myself. I didn't date. I didn't do anything I didn't need any external help because I was still fucked up so long, so bad. I knew that it was going to take me a while to get to that point where I felt like I could start getting back to that point. But it wasn't until the work was done, you know? So that's my 2 cents.
Woo! You don't get fit by destroying your body. You get fit by respecting it. Respect your body. Respect yourself. Have a wonderful 2026.
Absolutely, guys.
We're here for it. Hopefully another 52 podcasts.
Let's go.
Oh, 50.
51.
51.
Or no, 50.
Did we miss last week?
50. Because this one counts as one. We missed last week.
We're on it. Thank you for watching the Not So Perfect podcast.
See you guys until next week.
Peace.
Peace.
Adios.